and we promise we will speak slowly. And if he will not be speaking slowly, I can pinch him. I can poke.
What time do we have to be finished?
We have 1 hour and a half overall.
Oh.
It's okay. 21 question, we can do it.
Okay.
Okay, you want to say anything in the beginning?
Oh, no, I'm glad everybody's here, made it to the final. I hope everybody did their homework right. You'll retain it if you do your homework, and you'll be able to apply it. Okay. And these ideas are some of the, I mean, they really are foundational, right? Like everything that comes later will build off of these ideas. They're huge. And if you sit with them over time, they will help you to understand your world, why things are happening to you the way they are, and what you can do to make it be the way you want it to be instead of the way it is. And so, I mean, just huge, huge ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Like really, really exciting stuff. This is definitely like top hits.
Yeah, and I remember I was thinking, oh, essay one, it's just, like the very first course. It is probably not as important as other courses, but wait until you will see how many dimensions it has when you are progressing with your studies. It actually basically is like holographic hologram of all the 18 courses and also of advanced courses.
Yeah.
Class, first question. Name the author of the principal teachings of Buddhism. Give both his popular name and his monk's name, as well as his dates. I think that's an easy question. The author of Principal Teachings of Buddhism is Jetsun Kappa, 1357, 1419. And his monk's name was Lobsang Drakpa, or pure-minded one who is widely known.
This is kind of funny, 1357 to 1419. You're going to hear that so often that it ends up being people's numbers they use on their passwords for the internet. So be careful, don't use it. Everybody's going to figure it out.
Oh, I still use it. That's the number in the locker room.
Yeah. People use it all the time.
Okay.
Let's see. So the actual name of the work is Lamsam Namsam in Tibetan, or the Three Principal Paths.
Okay. Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Then who wrote the commentary that we are studying? What are his dates? The commentary was written by Pabon Karin Pache, 1878, 1941, and his secret name was Dechen Ningpo.
Mm-hmm.
And Dechen Ningpo is a very interesting expression in Tibetan, because Dechen is bliss big, like great bliss, literally. And the Ningpo is, it's a word for the heart, or something internal, like core, essence, and it is translated as the essence of the great bliss. And they say that if you will take, if you will assemble together all the joy, all the happiness you had in your lifetime and put it in 1 millisecond, so the Dechen Ningpo is higher than this.
And he's famous for having taught lay people. It wasn't just for monks. He was famous for teaching the general population. Huge early 20th century teacher.
Mm-hmm. He had a special voice when he was talking, the era of no microphones, no Zooms. Hundreds and thousands of people in the valley could hear him.
And he also wrote "Liberation in the Palm of Your Hand." Actually, spoke it, and then that was written down by Trijang Rinpoche, a different book, but very famous also. And we have a direct connection to him, right? Because from Pabanka, he goes to Trijang, who was one of his main students. And Trijang was one of the two main tutors for the Dalai Lama. And then, but Trijang was also taught Ken Rinpoche, Serme Geshe Ken Rinpoche Lobsang Tarchin, who was Geshe Michael's main teacher. And then I also had the good fortune to study with him from 2000 to 2004, took vows with him. And so we have a direct connection in our lineage to Pabanka.
Mm-hmm. Who is the disciple of Trijang Rinpoche who wrote the introduction? The disciple is Ken Rinpoche Geshe Lapsang Tarchin, and his dates are 1921, 2004. Yeah. You may not see 2004 in the answers because the course was created before Ken Rinpoche passed away.
Mm-hmm. And if you recall, I think I'm sure you've heard the story before, but I will repeat it to make sure that you guys know. Ken Rinpoche was a Larampa Geshe. He got the highest ranking of Larampa, and meaning he won the national debates his graduation year. And he was fully trained inside of Tibet, and then got out of Tibet in 1959 when the country was changing governments, and escaped over the Himalayas into India. And that's a really fantastic story. At one point, we'll cover it later. And then he was asked by the Dalai Lama to come to the United States to teach in the 1970s. And so he was one of about, I think, like 5 Larampa Geshes in the world. By the year 2000, when I met him, 5 Larampa Geshes who'd been completely trained in Tibet that were, I think that maybe just in the world, even in India. So he was really, really quite a remarkable resource to have.
Name the 3 principal paths. So the book is called 3 principal paths, so we should name them. And they are renunciation, or nowadays Geshe Michael, what does he say? I'm tired.
I'm tired.
I'm fed up. Means I'm tired of the reality where nothing works properly. And second is the wish for enlightenment, which is bodhicitta. And the third path is correct view of emptiness or wisdom. In Tibetan, renunciation, you will hear it a lot, is Nyanjun. Bodhicitta, or the wish for enlightenment, is Samkhya. And the correct view of on emptiness is Yandakpe Tava.
And for Western audiences, if you start talking about renunciation, they're not going to be interested, right? They want to consume something better, mostly. And so they're not talking about giving up good things, right? That you're not renouncing goodness. You're having renunciation for things that don't work. And they're very sophisticated about describing what does and doesn't work. Very sophisticated. It takes a while, frankly, to wrap your mind around it.
Basically, what you give up is your misunderstanding of the reality that makes you suffer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, next one is, I think it was mentioning that these three things, renunciation, bodhicitta, and the correct worldview are stages of mental realization, right?
Yeah, and I don't think it was one of the questions on the final exam, but it's mental realization. And so then the next question is, do the three principal paths have any relationship to tantric practice, to Vajrayana practice? And yeah, absolutely. Vajrayana is an application of what you're going to learn here, right? It's hard to talk slow. I've got all the ideas in my mind races ahead of my thoughts. Yeah, and the floor's shaking today, isn't it, for some reason? Renunciation is just saying you want to get out of samsara, right? And then bodhicitta is the desire to see every living being get out of samsara, which, that's the only way you're going to really, truly be able to reach full enlightenment, is if you have the desire to have everybody go with you. It's also extremely powerful. It makes your actions much stronger. And then correct worldview is the realization that basically that the world is a blank screen and that your mind is painting things onto a blank screen. And so it's not really a screen. A screen is something physical. That's just an analogy. But it functions like that, in that it could be anything on the screen, but your mind is projecting an image onto it. And so then when you have those ideas, like inside of that, anytime you're talking about emptiness, you're also going to automatically be thinking, I can't talk slow like that. I'm not going to be able to think. And so if you're talking about emptiness, you're automatically talking about cause and effect also. And so with cause and effect comes ethics, right? Because everything you do is going to be given back to you except greater, right? All the results are going to be similar to the original action. And so maintaining your ethics becomes critical, right? And then in the Vajrayana stages, that still is going to be 100% applicable. That you're still working with the same ideas exactly. In fact, if you keep your ethics, you'd be very close to completing the path as it is. And then Vajrayana helps just that little bit extra.
And when you will come to Diamond Way teachings, you will see that you basically restart your Lamrim. And I think we should use the opportunity to tell people that the Venerable Jigme and Venerable Gyaltse will be teaching it will be an unusual opportunity, because in our time it was very rare opportunity. So use it. On the 30th of January, they will start, Venerable Jigme and Venerable Gyaltse, a course that is called Delam. I think you do not want to miss it if you want to, if you consider in the future to come to Diamond Way. I truly recommend you to listen to them. Maybe you are just in the beginning of the path. It's okay. You still can come and listen.
Yeah, it's we were a little bit surprised, frankly, because the first 3 of the 18 courses in the Vajrayana series are day long. And it's a brief review, brief 3 courses of the open teachings, and you do that.
Secret teachings.
Secret teachings, yeah, the secret teachings, and you do that as a traditional start to the secret teachings when you're going to get them. And so up till now, they've been very adamant about having all 18 courses of the ACI, the foundational courses done before you start it. So to be honest, I'm not completely sure what they're doing, but they must have Geshe Michael's blessing to start it.
Definitely, Geshe Michael told them.
Yeah, so I would highly recommend you take the opportunity, because frankly, I'm not going to teach it until you finish all 18. So if you want to get ahead, see what's happening. It'll be interesting. I highly recommend it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Where would they find a link to get those teachings?
On the ACI website.
Okay.
Like just go to ACI main website, the headquarters website. Maybe we will find at the end of the class. In ACI Together group, it is already published, so you can find also there as a pinned message in Telegram group. What are the 2 bodies of a Buddha? So we have a physical part and the mental part of the body, and it is called Rupakaya, and the combination of mental part and ultimate nature part of a Buddha is called Dharmakaya. And in Tibetan, it is Sukku, form body, and Chukku, Dharma body. Lena published in the chat the link you may want to use, except it is in Russian, but there are many other languages, so you can choose any language you want.
And it's interesting. I want to talk a little bit more about the two bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So for the form body, there's, and this isn't in the answer, so you don't have to write this in your answer to get full credit. But for the form body, there's 2 parts to that. There's the part of the Buddha that's in their paradise called the Sambhogakaya, and then there is the part that gets projected. It's called the Nirmanakaya, and it's interesting because there's an exact correlation in Christianity, right? So the God in the paradise would be God. The body in the paradise would be God, and then the projection would be Jesus, right? The God on earth, and then Holy Spirit. Well, that would be the Dharmakaya, right? So they talk in Christianity about the Trinity, how the 3 are one, and then the exact same idea. And it's very mysterious in Christianity. And it makes a lot more sense in Buddhism when you add emptiness to it and you realize, that your mind is capable of more than being in just one physical location like that. Mm-hmm. So it's really fascinating. And then, of course, the Dharmakaya has 2 components, right? The emptiness of the Buddha's mind is exactly the same as the emptiness of your mind, right? So we share that in common. The big difference between a Buddha's mind and my mind is that the other part, the Jhana Dharmakaya, is omniscient, and I'm a little short of that at the moment. So anyway, fascinating, right? It's really interesting to see the parallels in different traditions, talking about the exact same thing.
Mm-hmm. The next question is, name the 2 causes of the 2 bodies, and the collection of wisdom is the cause for a Buddha's wisdom body, and the collection of merit is the cause of Buddha's form body. So Chukku or Yeshe Kitsok. Chukku is Dharma Kaya, right? Wisdom body. And Yeshe Kitsok, Yeshe is wisdom. Ki is a post-particle that makes it by wisdom. Geshe Ki Tsok, and Tsok is collection.
So it kind of makes sense, right? The wisdom is the mental part, and the merit is the physical part.
Mm-hmm. And then Suku, same for my body, Rupakaya. And Sunam Ketsok, and Sunam is goodness. It means all the good things that you're doing, basically your bodhisattva activities.
And then it's interesting to go through these discussions of what does it mean to be a Buddha, because again, that's the goal, right? I mean, this isn't somebody outside of us that's achieved something that's just a historical interest, or even more than just a refuge, right? The goal is for you to become a Buddha. Mm-hmm. So when people say, "Oh, well, I'm trying to get enlightened," what does that mean? Well, Dharmakaya, Rupakaya. It means you will have
omniscience and the body of light.
Yeah,
basically these two things.
Yeah, they say that your body, like it's not going to be made out of meat, right? And it's not going to get old and die. It's literally like light that they say that's similar to rainbow light, and that they're in a state of completely beyond suffering, just pure bliss, mm-hmm. Constantly, all the time. And so.
The next logical question is how it is related to our three principal paths, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the first two principal paths, they create the body of the Buddha, the form part of an enlightened being, renunciation and bodhicitta, the wish for enlightenment. And the third principal path, which is
correct worldview.
Correct worldview, Yandak Petava. Mm-hmm. Yandak Petava is creating the wisdom body, or the mental and ultimate nature parts of the Buddha.
Right. And that's also logical, right? Because renunciation and bodhicitta is just the idea that you're going to have renunciation for every living being, not just yourself. So those two are very similar, and deal more with the physical aspect. And then obviously correct worldview is talking about emptiness. So,
and maybe that we are also doing some other courses like self value. Mm-hmm. And the Millones Prebirki, Test Tube Million. And people asking quite frequently why we exactly need to do 4 steps. Like, why do we need to do physical action to get some kind of result? This is why you can see to create an enlightened being body, mm-hmm. you need to do something physically with your actions, not only think how great it would be to become an enlightened being, but renunciation implies that you change your life. It's not that you do not want a new car. I want a new car. Mm-hmm. It's not that you do not want a new house, but you're not attached to these ideas from the point of view that you know where it comes from. You will never get the same grasping like to a thing that is self-existent if you know that you should share something with other people in order to get it. Mm-hmm. It changes completely how you feel, even in your body, related to a new car or a new house or $1 million that you want or anything like that.
Yeah. It's not that you're going to go out into the world and like grab it, or, that you plant the seeds for it. Very different way of looking at the world, and the only effective way of looking at it.
Yeah, and you will never destroy your morality. Like, you will not hurt another living being in order to get something if you really understand what's going on, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so
I mean, you can see why these are such big ideas, right? I mean, if this is true, then understanding the process becomes just absolutely critical for living a happy life, right? I mean, very different than thinking of things as self-existent, right? Or as if your mind were going to stop when your body stops. A very, very different way of looking at the world.
Okay. Name the 10 characteristics of a qualified Lama.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I was thinking today about this list?
Mm.
So now I'm not sure anymore, is this list for them or for us?
Well, I mean, initially, it was very helpful, right? Deciding, like, you're putting a lot of trust into a teacher when they're describing a way of looking at the world, right? And so then it's very helpful. You and I are kind of comfortable now with the idea that Geshe Michael and Ken Rinpoche were models of this, right?
Mm.
But it takes time. Takes a long time. I mean, I've known Geshe Michael for 23 years. So
now you finally trust him.
There's been some ups and downs, right? It's not always easy. And so, takes quite a bit, right?
I mean, when you come to the higher teachings, I mean, advanced teachings, you literally entrust your life into your teacher's hands. So it makes sense to really check your potential teacher, your candidate teacher, right?
Well, and the other thing too, to be, honest about the Vajrayana teachings, if you're going to get enlightened in one lifetime, things are going to have to go quicker, right? And so
both good and bad.
yeah. That's just it, both good and bad. So it's like all of your karma starts moving faster, and dramatically great things happen, and difficult things. and then you learn from it quicker, right?
Subjectively difficult.
Yeah, I mean it's
90% because of our selfishness and wrong worldview.
Yeah, well, and the results you get are always going to be, if you're human before you're an Arya, everything you ever do is a bit black and a bit white, right? And so then the results you get are going to be a bit black and a bit white. And when you speed up that process, it can be difficult to hang on through the dark periods. And that's why you have to, that's part of the reason why you have to understand karma and emptiness, so that you understand how to deal with it when you get there. But anyway, so a teacher, right? It also helps to have confidence in a teacher, so that you trust the process, in your own trust, right? Not a blind trust, but a logical trust.
And also something before we will start listing the qualities, just one more idea that can be useful for you in future, that anything you hear this in ACI classes, like there is zero chance that it is just by chance. Every single word is well thought out by enlightened beings. Every single preposition, every single, even maybe, what is this? Maybe you will find mistakes in ACI classes. There are no real mistakes, except the ones that should teach you something. So maybe you will find ones, and then you should think, what is the message? If I see this, something that looks incorrect or whatever, maybe they attract your attention to the sentence. I don't know.
Well, and you'll go through, particularly later on, you'll go through the text and you'll see words that are obviously misspelled or things that are obviously wrong. That doesn't mean that
they didn't know what they do.
Well, that doesn't mean that the word isn't misspelled, right? The word is literally misspelled. But then the question becomes, well, why? And then sometimes I would wonder that. And like, well, maybe he wanted to create some work for somebody in the future. But anyway, this is a little off topic, right?
Yeah. Okay. So qualities of a teacher, of a qualified Lama. first they should, we have always big discussions with Bill over this topic. Okay, so to remember it easily, first remember that your Lama should be trained in 3 trainings. And 3 trainings is a very famous expression. It means that they are trained in Dulva, in Shiva, and in near Shiva. In ethics, or morality, it means they are tamed. They tamed themselves. They are in control of their actions. They are in control of their speech. They do not hurt other people because they underwent this huge training in which called extraordinary training of the ethical way of life, Dulva. Dulva is an interesting word because it is used to like tame horses, you know, like when there is a wild horse, they say Dulva. And Dulcha is the one to tame, like a student. Then Shiva, it means they are at peace. Shiva is the same word that used in Tibetan for a person who passed away. Like in Russian, there is a word upakoit, покойник, покой, like from the same root, like peace, right? To calm down, something like that. In English, it would be. It means they are masters of meditation. They mastered meditation to extraordinary degree. Third training is a training of wisdom, and it means they call it near Shiva or high peace. Like not only they put to rest their afflictions and their mind, their mental afflictions and their mind, but also they reach the higher rest. And the higher rest is when they use this good level of concentration. They meditate on something higher, and you know what is higher? It's emptiness. So they use their training of meditation to reach
well, the direct perception of emptiness comes later.
Yeah, but they at the very least they train themselves, right, to reach the direct perception of emptiness.
Well, and the distinction here is it seems like that they're acting with an awareness of emptiness, right? So their actions, they've got an intellectual understanding of emptiness, and all of their actions are based on that, right? Which again, that's the foundation for ethics. The reason why there is such a thing as an ethical way to behave is because things are empty. And because things are empty, karma functions. And because karma functions, you need to treat people the way you want to be treated.
Okay, then they have Yonten Hlakpa. And Yonten is an ancient word for qualities. And Hlakpa is like exceeds, like applies the word for a deity, like deity level of qualities, something like that. And it means that your teacher exceeds your level. Like if your teacher is of the same level or lower than you, then you will degrade, or at the very least will not progress anymore. So this quality is very important.
And I can say that having seen both Ken Rinpoche and Geshe Michael, they have these qualities, right? I mean, and so what does that look like? You know, like as far as like being ethical, oh my gosh, I've never seen anybody as hardworking and as generous and as patient as Geshe Michael. You know, he literally, like he didn't have much money when I knew him originally. He'd get $10,000 and right back out, give it away. And then, you know, I've seen him in very difficult situations. I've never seen him lose his patience, ever. Never seen him get angry. And I've seen him take a lot of abuse from students and the general public for his ideas. And he never quits, never gives up. And the same thing with Ken Rinpoche, right? Like after he crossed the mountains in 1959, the Himalayas, he could have said, "Oh, the heck with it. I'm smart. I'm going to go to the city. I'm going to get a job. I'm going to make some money, get a wife. Like I've had enough of this, right?" And that isn't what he did. Stayed in the monastery. Was my age. He was in his late 50s when he came to the United States, didn't speak any English, couldn't have been easy, right? And so, and then, meditation. Yeah. They both clearly had shamatha. They both clearly had the level of mental stability necessary to have the direct perception of emptiness. And then, Geshe Michael has said publicly that he had the direct perception of emptiness. And if you look at his teachings and the way he's led his life, it's pretty clear his actions are in accordance with somebody who's had the direct perception of emptiness. And then I'm pretty sure Ken Rinpoche did too at the end of his life.
Well, I've slowed down.
Yeah, it's hard to,
Yeah, Bill, usually he's a really fast speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but we make efforts. Also, some students were asking me why, when we describe the qualities of a teacher, we do not talk about ourselves. Why do you think so?
You're going to have to see it firsthand, right?
I think because whoever your teacher is, it's up to you to decide.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we do not want to introduce any bias. I don't know how to say.
But it's not right for me to talk about myself, right?
Yeah, probably I
and,
also feel the same way.
And to be honest, Geshe is a higher figure than a better example, right?
Yeah.
So
we prefer to talk about examples that we are 100% sure they definitely have all these qualities.
And they'll say in the text that it takes 12 years to examine a teacher. And I remember when I first heard that, I was like, you guys are exaggerating.
Mm-hmm.
They're not exaggerating. You really have to have confidence in a teacher. And the only way that's going to happen is to know them personally, right? I mean, but right now you guys can look at it logically and
use your logic, your
yeah.
reasoning, and also listen to your heart, because finding your teacher is impossible to miss, because it is the same like to miss your first love or something like that. It's not possible to miss.
Well, there's also you come into the world with bok chops, seeds from the past, and
you will have a strong reaction to your teacher.
Yeah, I knew right away when I met Geshe Michael that there was literally like a physical reaction. I was literally physically shaken when I heard the teachings, and there was like a strong desire to go to his classes and a real joy with it. And so then, and you got to be wary of like an initial reaction, right? Because if people don't know a teacher and they think, oh, this person's wonderful right away, they'll be gone quickly. They're if you're too quick to think that a teacher's great, you'll be onto something new next month, right? So it takes time.
Okay, so quality number 5, tsunche. They're willing to apply great efforts, to make great efforts and take great joy in helping their students.
Yeah.
Tsunche is very similar to the word we use when we talk about 6 qualities of a bodhisattva, 6 parameters. And it's quality number 4, joyful effort. It means that many people, they work hard, right? from this teacher's perspective, if you work hard and you are not happy, then you do not work.
Mm-hmm.
So Tsunche means they apply great efforts and they're happy. Like their great efforts is happiness, great joy about the things they are doing. It's not just they work hard and curse everybody because they do not sleep enough or because they overworked, right? It's they're also happy for what they're doing.
And when you think about great efforts, one of the things that's been occurring to me, I guess particularly the last 6 months, is that I mean, Geshe Michael really has led a life that's very similar to Jason Kappa's. You know, Jason Kappa translated 10,000 pages of text.
Wrote.
Yeah, I keep saying translate because I'm so used to Geshe Michael translating.
Geshe Michael,
yeah. You know, Geshe was translated 30,000 pages. Very difficult to do, right? And you know, he's built this organization the same way Jason Kappa was an organizer, right? It wasn't just that he was a writer, you know, he was an organizer, kind of a businessman in that sense, right? A spiritual businessman. He built an organization. And, you know, Geshe Michael's done the same thing. And it's quite extraordinary, right? The amount of effort, like ACI, DCI, YSI, you know, Sedona College. It's really, and then you're seeing it spread out. It's
university.
Yeah, university. Yeah.
And also, Jetson Kappa, his famous phrase was that he is like out of everything he has done, I mean, opening new monasteries, hundreds of monasteries, not 1, 2, or 10, hundreds of monasteries. He was teaching and ordaining monks. He was teaching Vajrayana, higher teachings. And he was happy, first of all, about the fact that he started Moonlam festivals. And Moonlam festival is actually when they just stop working and they celebrate all the great things they have done. So it's celebration, it's fireworks, it's like dances, musics, etc. So he was thinking that this is his greatest achievement, which is Tsunche.
We're halfway through our time. Yes, we probably need to pick up the pace. Well, we've got a time limit today.
Yeah, rich in scriptures, Lunkichuk. It means that Bill does not touch the table anymore, because you can see us shaking in your computers if he does. Number what? 5, 6. Number 6, Lunkichuk, rich in scriptures. That's an easy one. It means that they know their stuff, their material. They know the scriptures. Number 7 is the one that we constantly argue about, Teniraptak, have deep realization on suchness. And it means like if near Shiva, remember the third one about wisdom, it means that they use meditation to have the insight on the real nature of things. They meditate on emptiness. And here it is about realizations. They say that they should have direct perception of emptiness, or because, I mean, with our lousy seeds, we live in the times of degeneration. Maybe you will not see anybody who has seen emptiness directly. At the very least, they should have a good intellectual understanding. And of course, Jetson Kappa is making fun of us because the only reason you do not see your teacher has seen emptiness directly because you do not have enough seeds to see it and to hear that he did or she did. So Danny Raptak. 8. He's a master instructor, Makedan. They can see or feel the students' capacity to study, and they give you exactly what you need, not more, not less. Makedan, master instructor. Then they're an image of love. It means they're teaching Dharma out of love for students, not out of worldly motivations like money or something. And it was, by the way, a question for me, because I met Geshe Michael when he was teaching DCI, and I was like, really? ACI, you teach Tseve Dakni, an image of love, and here you kind of it's a lot of money I should pay, and especially when I was going to Sedona was $3,500 2 weeks, and then now I know that it was actually very cheap. Because if maybe sometimes if you do not have enough seeds, then you should pay money. So
well, it's kind of it's a little different than what you might think. The higher, more authentic teachings are free. The easier ones cost a lot of money.
yeah. But for the higher, more authentic teachers, you actually pay your life because you have to become an example. You have to become a commentary to these teachings. You have to change your life, and these teachings will, like, I don't remember the movie. There was like, like internal tattoos, they are like all these teachings, they will just be illuminated out of you, like it's very beautiful.
Yeah, it's like a light goes on. Once it goes on, it won't go out.
Yeah, you will become a vessel for these teachings, and other people will use you as the source of these teachings.
But the ACI teachings and the Vajrayana teachings, the foundational courses and the advanced courses are free, always will be free. Don't trust anybody that charges you for them.
Yeah. True and real.
And, I saw particularly like, near the end of the advanced courses, when we were going into 3-year retreat, and boy, if like people were trying to build their cabins, and some of the people like literally had no money, they'd put off having a career to study for 6 years and had no money to build a cabin, and they get, Geshe Michael get some money, and well, here's $10,000, to get you started on building a cabin. So it was kind of the opposite, right? Like he started helping his students.
Yeah, and if you have your students, maybe some of you does, I don't know, then don't forget that once you have students, you have also these obligations you will have to take care.
Yeah, it goes both ways.
Yeah, it goes both ways. Okay, and the 10th quality is Kyopapan, is beyond becoming discouraged. This is my favorite quality, because I would see again and again somebody would come to Geshe Michael with the question he just answered, or he answered at the very least 3 times within last, couple days during a DCI program or something, and a new student comes with same exact question, and he restarts explaining it with the same exact enthusiasm as for the first time. Like, I personally have seen him teaching the pen or the 2 husbands in the kitchen, like for probably over 100 times the pen, probably like over 30 times 2 husbands. And every time he does it as for the first time ever.
Yeah, it's like Stephen Hawking getting super excited about explaining that 2 + 2 does equal 4.
Yeah. The famous mathematician.
And he's done it thousands of times.
Mm.
Or I mean, like Ken Rinpoche, right? You got to figure, after getting kicked out of his country, sitting there in India, like all of the monks were dying from tuberculosis, and he's still in a monastic environment. You got to think, at some point, a lot of people would have said, well, what good is Dharma doing me, right? But, that's obviously an incorrect way to look at it. You're not in your problems because of Dharma. You're going to get out of your problems because of Dharma. And
it takes time, especially when they do not have as a purpose like money or wife or a house or anything like that. Because recently I remember there was a class, Geshe Michael was leading a Schwensen Tower class, and I had a huge realization when he said that oh no, it was not actually Geshe Michael, it was a Venerable Jigme. Anyway, I had the realization when she said that a person may have as a purpose to be able to better help other people, not to get something as a result, but the result they want may be to be able to be more helpful. And I mean, you can see Geshe Michael, he started with 5 people in the kitchen teaching ACI courses, right? The class 1, if you ever heard the very first one, horrible sound, like 2 dogs barking in the background. One I remember was Rusty, I forgot the name of the other one. So it was horrible. In the worst place you can find possibly in New York, the cheapest, near a bus station, almost under the bus station. So, and now he has 200,000 students, right? Definitely his desire to be more helpful to people worked out, right? Okay. List 3 requirements of a good student as found in Arya Deva's 400 verses.
Free of preconceptions. You have to be flexible, right? Yeah, you have to be willing to consider something new. Boy, that's why a lot of successful people are really poor candidates, right? Because things have worked out well for them because of past seeds, but they have some different idea. And so
they developed wrong ideas because their past seeds open together with some other seeds, and they think, oh, if I steal, I will make money. If I do not pay taxes or something like that, right?
But you have to have a flexible mind. You have to be willing to consider new ideas.
Yeah. Also, first time I went to mixed nuts classes, Geshe Michael told me, just open your mind, it will be okay. Like your mind is like a parachute, works only open.
The second one is intelligent in a spiritual sense. And this is interesting also because there's very definitely a karma, right? Like having an attraction to these ideas and being able to understand them is in itself its own result, right? And it's not necessarily directly related to an academic type of intelligence. It's often associated with an academic type of intelligence, but it isn't necessarily related. Just to have the kelwa, the good fortune to be attracted to these ideas and capable of understanding them is it's its own result. And if you think you don't have it, you can plant the seeds to make it happen, right? So
and to have high spiritual aspirations in your life, because you will have to work hard on this path to reach them.
So flexible mind, intelligent in a spiritual sense, and willing to work. Kind of common sense, right? But helpful to understand, particularly the flexibility part. And it will help you when you're teaching other people. You'll see, what they're capable of also.
Mm-hmm. The next question is, define what it is meant by the cycle of life, or samsara in Sanskrit. Samsara, it is a Sanskrit word. You will see samsara. The writing is correct, but the pronunciation is sansara in Sanskrit. After C following M is always ns, sansara. In Tibetan, it's korva, and this is a condition of being forced through the power of your karma and mental seeds to take on, and mental afflictions, to take on your stained or impure hearts that make up your suffering being over and over again. So in two words, how we can understand it. There was a class recently, I was recording about victims, and we were talking about who is the real victim. So the real victim, if you do not control your karma, is you. Because this is what we study here, how we can start controlling our karma. And as of today, we are forced to feel what we feel, to see what we see, and to be where we are. This is samsara. And plant more bad seeds because we react bad to our suffering.
Halfway through, we got 30 minutes left.
Mm-hmm. 8 worldly thoughts.
All right. The 8 worldly thoughts, being happy when we get something, and being unhappy when we don't, being happy when we feel good, being unhappy when we don't, being happy when we become well known, being unhappy when we don't, and being happy when someone speaks well of us, and being unhappy when they don't. Mm-hmm. And the point of these things, right? This is where people will often, think that you're not supposed to have any feelings, or that you're supposed to be, just inert like a stone, not doing anything. And that's not the point. It's advanced spiritual practitioners want to be happy. They don't want suffering, and that's okay, right? Nobody says that, you're supposed to be indifferent to pain and pleasure. It's just that you're supposed to not overreact to it, right? That it's not going to, somebody says something nice about you. Okay.
Good seeds opened.
It's going to come. It's going to go. Okay. Somebody says something bad about you. Okay.
Bad seeds ripened.
That was unpleasant. It's going to come. It's going to go. Don't create negative karma because of something like that, right? Don't, somebody says something good about you. Don't get wrong pride, right? Don't start thinking that, you're somehow better than other people for some small quality that's going to disappear. And by the same token, if somebody criticizes you, don't think that, that's self-existent either, right?
Yeah. If you will remember emptiness and seeds, you're protected from 8 worldly thoughts, basically.
Yeah. And it's the same thing. Physical objects. Hey, I got a house. You're going to lose it. Hey, I don't have a house. Well, you plant the seeds to get one, right?
Okay. The next question, 4 principles of action or of karma. Okay, that one is easier. I think Lengepa, actions are certain to produce similar results. It means that what we do comes back. What goes around comes around. Что посеешь, то и пожнешь in Russian, I think. And
you reap what you sow is the line from the Bible. You reap what you sow. You'll harvest what you plant.
Yeah, this is a confirmation that the Bible is based on the same principles initially.
Yeah, you can find all four of these rules in the New Testament.
Second one, lepel cheva. The consequences are greater than the action. So it means our seeds we planted are growing, and we get the results that higher and larger, better or worse than what we have done in the past. Third, lema jepa dan mitrepa. Very famous. You cannot get a result from a seed that was not planted. It is impossible to meet your partner if you do not share your time with a lonely person, right? So if you don't have seeds, you will not have sprouts. You should plant what you want. And the last one.
And one of the shocking things about that is that every detail of your world, the smallest details and big details, and planets in other universes, and it's just in other galaxies, it's all planted by the person perceiving it. It's pretty. It's that's hard for me to put my mind around. But every detail. The color of the walls,
the sun rising,
the fact that our Christmas tree is still up.
Yeah, we still have our Christmas tree. I told Bill that according to some members of my family, if you get rid of your Christmas tree before the 8th of March, you are just a weak person. And in June, you are a loser.
Well, and frankly, the room looks so good with the tree in there. We like it up.
Okay. The last one. Jepa chu misava. If you didn't do, once you have done the action, the result is unavoidable. And this is kind of scary for people over 25, 30, usually, because for some reason between 16 and 30, we make all kinds of problems. And so if you realize that you have something that you are not proud of, you have done something that you are not proud of in the past, then it's time to purify the seeds. Just do 4 hours and forget about it.
There's an exception to this last one. It's not always true for everyone all the time. If you get enlightened, your seeds, I've heard Geshe describe it as them being burned or like
frozen
permanently, or like they're locked away. So it's like a bomb that's like been contained and is never going to go off permanently. And so you don't get those.
You don't need to experience all the bad things that you have done.
Yeah, if you get enlightened, you can just kind of like.
It's not that you will
contain the danger.
It's not that you will exhaust everything bad you have done.
Yeah.
And with the power of your good motivation and the correct worldview, you will be able to stop it forever.
Yeah, the text will talk about debts you never have to repay.
Yeah. Next one. What is the point at which you know that you have developed true renunciation?
Monday morning when you get up and have to go to work.
People will not understand you're joking.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, okay. I will tell it.
All right.
Because he's in the mood to joke. When you have no other ideas, your mind is focused just on achieving freedom from samsara day and night, and you have no attraction to the good things in this life. And by good things in this life, we do not mean you should not want food, money, cars, etc., whatever you want. It means that you now know that it is not in the objects that you create all these objects. Your ultimate happiness is in you and not in the outer objects.
Yeah, and that a car isn't, car's useful when you're human. It's not an ultimate refuge, right? I mean, it's not really it doesn't have the power to make you happy.
Yeah.
Only getting out of samsara can do that.
Right. Okay.
Why don't you do this question?
Then we will do the 7th part.
Oh, okay. All right. I don't want to give it one of these. Okay. Give an explanation of the two parts of the word bodhicitta. And does it refer to the mind of a Buddha? Okay, so bodhi means enlightenment, and chitta means mind. And so it means enlightenment mind in the sense that you have the desire for everybody to get out of samsara and that you're going to work on it personally yourself. It doesn't mean that you're already enlightened. It doesn't mean that you have the mind of a Buddha, right? We share one thing with the Buddha in common, and that's the emptiness of our mind is exactly the same as the emptiness of a Buddha's mind, which is why we can become a Buddha, right? We can project something different. Right now, I'm projecting a human onto the screen of my world, but I could be projecting an enlightened being, and that's possible because my mind shares the same emptiness. It doesn't mean that I'm a Buddha, right? And so
basically it's the wish for enlightenment, right?
Yeah, the wish for every living being.
Okay. In order to reach bodhicitta, which is the 2nd step out of 3 principal paths, right? You can go 2 ways, remember. First way is to exchange yourself and others, which you will learn in future courses, 10 or 11. Here we are studying 7 steps in the cause and effect method for developing the wish for enlightenment. So the first one is a little bit tricky because it requires you to accept already past and future lives, and because it has also step 0. Mm-hmm. So step 0, before you ever start to develop your bodhicitta, you should admit that every living being is equal, is equanimity, like equal relationship to every living being. At the very least, it means that you accept that every living being wants to be happy and does not want to suffer. And every living being will die in this world. So this is a good basis already. And I was thinking it is very helpful to live in different countries. I'm very lucky to have an opportunity at some different points of my life to live in different, totally different countries. See, my love, you're not as lucky as I am. So, because it gives you this sense, if you travel and you see different people, and on the surface they look different, but in their core, in their essence, they are all good people. They all want to be happy. They all want to avoid suffering. So this is the step number 1. Actually 0, sorry, 0. And then step number 1, recognize that all living beings have been your mother. That's kind of a bit tricky too. because like, really? How so? Like, I have my mom. I had one, and she passed away recently. But other, how so? Then in ACI 4, that we hopefully will teach maybe this in December this year, after we will teach ACI 2 in February, March, and ACI 3 in September. Maybe somewhere by November, December, we can teach ACI 4, one of my favorite courses. And there is a very famous proof of past and future lives. And basically, they review all possibilities for my first moment of consciousness. Like, consider the first moment of my own mind, this lifetime. Too fast?
19 minutes, 18 minutes.
Yeah, I know. We're almost there.
Yeah.
5 pages. So consider the first moment of my consciousness this lifetime. What was the cause? And briefly, they consider every single existing thing in the universe, and then go down to the fact that there is a material cause, something that turns into my mind first time I'm aware of myself. And they say that material cause should be similar, so it cannot be physical. It should be something of the same matter, right? Also mental. So it can be somebody's mind, my parents' mind, I don't know who else, other people's mind, that should completely be transformed into my mind. It means like what, my parents would lose their mind or something. And so at the end, you come to a conclusion that if it's not physical matter, it's not my parents' mind, other people's mind, there should be some previous moment of my consciousness and my own mind, right? And this is how they come to a conclusion that there was a previous moment that was the last moment of my previous lifetime. So, and if you will prove one past lifetime, automatically you have to admit that you had countless of lifetimes, because in every lifetime you had the first moment of your consciousness, and there should be a cause for this moment. And it's a little bit difficult idea to realize that you had countless past lifetimes. But if you will think a little bit more, if you will think that there was the first life ever, then you refute by this statement the idea of cause and effect. So in the classes, I did some longer explanation. If you're interested, you can look up in the class 8. Basically, then you come to the idea, okay, if I had countless lifetimes, then every single being around me could be my mother. And it is called Marshe. Everybody could be my mother.
Yeah, that inevitably, given an infinite amount of time, somewhere in that amount of infinite beginningless time, everybody would have been everything to everybody, which means they would have been your mother at some point.
A tricky question always, somebody always asks Geshe Michael, does it mean they also killed me for countless times? Yeah, it does mean actually. But he says it does not bring you anything good if you phrase it this way. So better focus on something that is useful. Yeah. Okay, second step is remember kindness that your mom, this lifetime mom, gave you. And that is called Drin. And if you do not think your parents have done anything good to you ever, then you're just a lazy person, because in these teachings they say, just your body. You need this body to get enlightenment, It has all the elements, every single element you need to get enlightened. just if your mom gave you your birth and left you the same moment, she would be the biggest karmic object for you on the earth, your physical, biological mother.
Just the fact that you're alive is the biggest kindness that they could give you, because you can reach enlightenment in this lifetime.
Yeah. So they say, forget about your blah, 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 your, what you call it, offenses.
Yeah, all your complaints.
Yeah, your complaints are not serious.
Yeah.
Drinso, you decide to repay for the kindness of your mothers. And how you can repay, you decide to give the best, right? Step number 4, Ion Jumper, or beautiful love, right? There was a discussion, should compassion come first or love first? Because love is to wish another person to be happy, and compassion is the wish to take away their suffering, right? This is a definition of love and compassion. And they say that you can really feel compassion only to a person who is important to you, then love comes first. This is why. But there is also another way. They're not mistaken. They're both correct. So you feel this intensity of like a mother to her only child. They also say only son, because in India only the son can take care of mother. The daughter lives forever, the family forever when she gets married. So you want to pay her back with the best, your mom. And step number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, is the great compassion, Ninja Chenpo. It means that you really want to make her free from suffering, your mom, and every living being, because everybody was at some point your mom. Step number 6 is my favorite one, because probably it suits my personality so much. Like some namdak. I will do it even if nobody will be helping me. Even if everybody will be against, something like that, right? So when you do not feel discouraged when you will encounter difficulties, and you will, and people will be unhappy for you helping them. So you should not get discouraged. Just remember that they're coming from your seeds.
Well, and if it is true that you're projecting your entire world, that if everything you're experiencing is a projection of your mind onto a blank screen, then who else can change it, right? Who else could possibly change it? You're the only one who can. Now, you can plant the seeds to get help, but you have to change it anyway. It's the only thing that's logical.
And the last step is Janchup Kesem, or Semkye, or Bodhicitta. You finally get the wish for enlightenment, and this gives you capacity to become the Buddha, a fully enlightened Buddha. Almost there.
Yeah, we got to get to the functionalist, and how many more questions do we have?
That's it.
Okay, so the rest of these are kind of, well, the karma and emptiness, the Buddhism of self, and the two truths. Okay, these are some of my more favorite topics.
Now we came to his favorite topics.
The two truths.
You know what it means? From the translators.
Slow down, please.
Yeah. Sorry, guys, we are getting excited.
Well, now we've got 10 minutes to cover 4 questions of some of the most difficult material.
Means you will suffer only for 10 minutes.
Yeah, it is almost over. Okay, so the two truths are ultimate truth and deceptive truth, which could also sometimes be translated as ultimate reality and deceptive reality. And ultimate reality is going to be the emptiness of everything, right? That is what is the ultimate. It's unstained, it's pure, it's completely free from suffering, free of any kind of elaboration. And then deceptive truth is everything else, everything that as a human that you're experiencing is part of deceptive, is a deceptive truth or deceptive reality, because it looks like it's self-existent. It looks like it has some kind of quality in itself, that there's something to it that's not being projected by our mind. And that's and it's tricking us. It's we have a wrong idea about it constantly. So like the the angry husband in the kitchen is like deceptive, because it looks like that's some unpleasant person in the kitchen, or angry wife, and it's really coming from nothing other than your own projections. But it's deceptive because, boy, particularly at the moment when you're having a bad time of it, it sure seems like they're real, right? It's deceptive. And on an ultimate level, there's nothing there that could be suffering, because emptiness is free of suffering.
And it is empty of self-existing objects.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, explain what dependent origination means in each of 3 Buddhist schools mentioned in the class. Functionalists, independent group, and implications. Go ahead.
All right. So this is fun because it took quite a while for me to figure this out. So the functionalists are going to be the first 3 of the ancient Indian schools, right? So now we're not talking about the Buddhist sects, right? We're not talking about Gelugpas, Nyingmas, Sakyas, or Kagyus. We're talking about the Indian schools of thought, right? These are ideas that people had, and it's not like a physical school. It's not like Harvard or Oxford. It's just a school in the sense that it's a group of people who think in some kind of way. And so the functionalist, they're going to be the first 3 schools. They're going to be the Abhidharmist, the Sutrist, and the mind-only schools. And they're going to say that everything comes out, everything exists as a result of causes and conditions. And so these people are going to think that there's something physical out there, right? All of these groups, all 4 of the schools believe in karma and emptiness. It's just they're going to debate about what emptiness means and what is actually out there. And so they're going to, in the functionalist schools, they're going to start talking about things like atoms. And then they're going to realize that and then other schools are going to argue for something more subtle. They're going to talk about partless parts. And then by the time you get to the mind-only school, they're going to say, well, that things are coming out of both the subject and the object are coming from a single seed, right? So you're getting a little more subtle, atoms, partless parts, subject and object, same mental seed. But they're all saying that there's something physical out there, and that your perception of it is controlling how you see it, but there's still something physical out there, and it comes from a higher cause and condition. And then the independent school, the Svat Tantrikas, the Madhyamika Svat Tantrikas.
Why they are not happy with them?
Oh, well,
because they cannot explain, right? Several things that are uncaused.
Yeah, and so that's uncaused. So what's an uncaused thing?
Emptiness and empty space.
Emptiness and empty space. So they say, well, how did that happen, right? It's uncaused. If everything comes from a prior cause and condition, what's the prior cause for empty space? I'm like, well, okay, so there's a flaw there. And so the independent group is going to say that it's 50-50. This is the 50-50 school, where they're going to say that it's half mind and half something else outside of you. And I think Geshe said this, and to the extent that I understand where physics is, modern physics is. This seems to be about where the physicists are, the quantum physicists, where they're aware that the mind, that an observer is somehow affecting reality. They don't know how. It's definitely mysterious, but they're quite aware that somehow observation is affecting what looks like physical matter, that there's a relationship between the two of them. So extremely subtle, right?
And why they explain it better? Because they say that things depend on each other in the sense that they depend on their parts.
Mm-hmm.
And they can explain better emptiness and empty space, because emptiness and empty space, they have their parts.
Mm-hmm. And so, okay, so
implications.
Functionalist, causes and conditions, independent group, depends on their parts.
Mm-hmm.
And the implication group, the Madhyamika Prasangikas, are going to say that everything exists as a projection of the mind onto a reasonable basis.
Mm-hmm.
And that if you go looking for that basis, you won't find it, that it's not findable. Mm-hmm. This one's definitely more subtle. So you've gone from functionalist, where there's some kind of physical matter out there that's getting more subtle as you go through the schools. Then you get to the independent group, and they're going to say, well, it's 50-50 mind. And by the time you get to implication group, they're going to say, no, entirely mind projecting onto a reasonable basis. And this is going to be, we're going to say this is the highest school. Now, of course, if you're an Abhidharmist, you're going to say, well, you're the highest school.
And basically, all the Vajrayana is based on this school. All Jetsun Kappa, highest Jetsun Kappa teachings, Nagarjuna teachings, Geshe Michael teachings, Gelugpa lineage teachings, they are based on this school. Mm-hmm. Okay, two more small questions left, almost there. Do not worry, Lena. Lena is asking if we can make it.
Yeah, we got 2 minutes, 2 questions. 1 minute.
Yeah. Okay. Buddhist teaches there is no self. Give a description of this non-existent self or self-nature according to Master Chandrakirti. That's easy. The self-existent self does not exist. Mm-hmm. A functional self, like me talking now, coming from my previous seats, that one exists. That's easy.
Yeah, that things function. There is, it's okay to say that there is a self. There's not a self-existent self. There's not a self that's independent of a mind projecting it onto a reasonable basis. Or sometimes my wife would say an irreasonable basis. You're not being reasonable.
That was a joke.
Yeah, it was a joke.
Can the idea of karma, ethics, or morality coexist with the idea of emptiness, or do they contradict each other? That's the most important question, actually, in this course.
No.
They are basically two parts of the same coin, right? It took me a while to understand why Geshe Michael says every time that the world is built of my kindness. And lately I realized that anything that functions, anything, it means I helped somebody. Because there are countless beings and countless worlds where things, they are just scattered, non-functional, and they go through extreme suffering. So all these useful things that you are surrounded, they are made of your kindness.
Because things are empty, karma works. If things weren't empty, it couldn't work. And if things are empty, then they're only going to exist. If the screen is blank, you're only going to see what your mind projects on it. And you're only going to see what you put into your mind by what you think, say, or do. And it's why every coherent life philosophy has always been so adamant about treating other people the way you want to be treated yourself, because things are empty and you're only going to see what you've done to other people, except it's going to come back stronger.
Okay.
That's it. We made it 1 minute over.
The end of the class.
Two sides of one coin. Always think of them as the same.
We will do on the 18th of February a public talk about relationship. We decided that we will do a true love public talk. So please come. Will be the same time as our classes. Oh, actually,
because when you learn this stuff, you can plant the seeds to have a partner that really loves you, really loves you.
I think it will be something like 6 p.m. European time, but we will see. And then last weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of February, and the first Friday, Saturday, Sunday of March, we will do ACI 2, one of our favorite courses. We also think that maybe we should do one offline course later on, maybe in the fall. But we will think about it.
2 minutes later.
2 minutes.
Thank you very much for letting us do this.
Translators, thank you, ACI head office team, thank you, technical team. You are wonderful, amazing. Please stay with us and let's work together.
Thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk about these great ideas.
We discuss all day long anyway.
These great, powerful ideas, right? It's like the most interesting subject possible. So thank you for letting us talk about it with you.